Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. This evening, my guest will be Ms. Carolyn Flowers, the CEO of Charlotte Area Transit System. How you doing, Ms. Flowers?
Hello, Paul. Thank you for having me on your show again.
Thank you for coming back. I am so honored to have you. I am so honored. Thank you, God, for bringing Ms. Flowers to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself first for the audience.
Well, I'm still here in Charlotte.
Correct.
Enjoying the job and enjoying the challenge, and this is a great place to be. Charlotte has very high visibility right now with the DNC coming up right now this weekend, CIAA.
Correct.
And so this is a place to be.
What development are you expecting this year for the Lynx Blue line extension?
We expect to have our railroad agreements completed, and we expect to submit our financial plan to the Federal Transit Administration and move into final design. And that's the last step before we get a commitment from the federal government in terms of a full funding grant agreement for 50% of the construction cost of the project.
How has that process been, and how have y'all worked to get this to the stage?
Well, it's been an arduous process, going through all of the steps that it takes to get a construction agreement. We just today received our full funding grant agreement signed by the state of North Carolina for their commitment for the construction costs in the project. And we still have, as I said, some final steps on the federal side. But since I was last here, we got a record of decision from the federal government. That was our environmental clearance, and that was a major step for us.
I understand y'all received a federal grant in 2011. Is that for the future line or the current Lynx Blue line?
We received a grant for $18 million to go back and retrofit the current Blue line so that we can have 3-car platforms, and so we'll be able to ride and bring people in with higher capacity than we have currently. And that was a major step for us too, because the design on the extension has 3-car platforms. So we want to ensure that the entire system has the same capacity to pull the 3 cars along the entire alignment and basically be ready for increased ridership.
Okay, tell us a little bit about the half-cent sales tax this year.
Well, the economy has definitely been slow in recovering, but we have seen some improvement in our tax receipts this year. And so, that's giving us, a glimmer of hope. We've seen an improvement, and we hope to see, with the CIAA and the next few months, that continuing trend.
You also have a project going on is the Red Line. What's the latest development on that?
Norfolk Southern, who owns the railroad alignment, has sent several letters expressing some concerns about the engineering and the assumptions for how often the train would run. So the next step is that the state is going to put together a meeting with Norfolk Southern and all of the parties here in Charlotte and in the county to talk about, should we be looking at a change in the engineering study. But in the meantime, the towns and the city of Charlotte and the counties, as well as the state, are still evaluating the financial plan, and that will continue in the next, probably next 4 to 5 months.
Oh, okay. Now, explain to the audience the Red Line. Where does that intention to go to?
The Red Line is the commuter rail that's going from Center City, Charlotte, up to Mooresville. And so it's paralleling I-77 going up through the Lake Norman area. And it's using an old right-of-way that is owned by Norfolk Southern. It's a freight right-of-way, and it needs to be upgraded to increase the speed for commuter rail to run in. Commuter rail is a heavier rail like you see with passenger trains like Amtrak. Right. So that's the type of technology that they use for commuter rail.
So this would be a great means of travel for individuals. I know you always hear about the traffic that's on I-77. So this would be a great means for them to take.
Yeah, the corridor is very congested going up to the lake, so to be able to offer some transportation alternatives and options for the people who live in that corridor would be great.
Okay, you're proposing a fare increase this year, and you're having a hearing on March 28th. What basically will be discussed then?
This is our opportunity to get public input on the proposed fare increase. We have actually put this in our budget as a way to continue to maintain the level of service. You know, we talk about gas prices.
Correct.
You know, in the last 2 years, we've had a 15% increase in our fuel prices. And, you know, the last month or so, on the market side, the price of gasoline has gone up, depending on where you live, between 20 and 50 cents. So this is a way for us to try to continue the service levels and not have to reduce service because of the increase. We've had a significant increase in utility costs. We have, you know, increases in insurance. And so all of these factors have affected our budget. So we need to ensure that we can, you know, cover the increased expenses and the escalation in the cost of living, and, you know, still be able to provide services out there for those who are in need.
Why is it so vital that individuals basically park their cars and use the transit? I mean, it's economical, especially in this time and age, and with, just like you said, the prices of the gas. It seems like it'd be wiser for them to actually use the transit.
We've seen last month a significant increase in our ridership, especially on the local bus service. We saw a 17% increase in our ridership in 1 month. Okay. And I think the major factor was the fuel price increases, and we've also had good weather.
That's true. Oh, we had awesome weather in Charlotte. Why is it so important that CATS maintain that high level of, you know, the type of service that you provide is awesome. Why is it so vital that you maintain that type of service to our community?
First of all, everyone in this community is an investor in CATS by virtue of paying sales taxes. Even if they don't ride the system, they are an investor in the system. So what we want to do is ensure that we provide services that are safe and reliable and convenient. So we see that Charlotte has grown. There's a continuing need for public transit, and this is a way of, you know, taking that investment and providing a yield on it.
What's some of your priorities that you'd like to see in the state legislature across this year?
I have one priority. That priority is for them to continue to support and fund transit. And, you know, the state has its budget challenges also, so we need to ensure that, you know, they continue to support us in terms of the new construction projects, right, and also the funding that they give us for operations. They do give us operating assistance. They give all the transit agencies in the entire state, rural and urban, some funds for operating, and that helps us offset our costs.
So what do we as a community, what should we do as far as helping the CAT system as far as this process?
Tell your legislators how important you think transit is, and that's the key, that they hear from everyone that they feel that this is a priority and that they want it to continue to be funded.
You know, how are you able to deal with the issues of the funding? I know it's been a real big issue. How are you able to deal with it?
Well, the thing that we've had to do is ensure that we are operating efficiently. And so we've done, in the last 2 years, we've done a lot to control our administrative expenses as well as our operating expenses. So we've looked at ways that we can trim non-essential expenses, because every penny that we save is pennies that can go into service. We eliminated positions. We eliminated 29 administrative positions. We have reduced our travel, our training. We've looked at ways to only focus on our core services. So we've tried to approach this as being responsible for the funding and the investment that the public has made in us, and to take those funds and put them on on-street service, which is what our job is.
How do you keep that high level of safety?
Well, safety is a priority. And so in terms of funding allocations, we want to make sure that we put money into safety and security, and we also put money into preventative maintenance so that our buses and our rail cars, stay in a state of good repair, and that way, they don't break down, you don't have issues with malfunctions. And so, the two priorities are, both sides making sure that you have a good maintenance program, as well as ensuring that you have funds out there for the security measures, whether they're passive, being a camera, or they're active, being feet on the ground in terms of our transit police.
CATS provide much needed service to the ADA community. What challenges is there today?
That has been a major challenge for us in this past year. We've seen a 330% increase in the number of people who have applied for certifications to ride paratransit services. We've seen an aging population. I'm part of them. Baby boomers.
Oh, you look nice, man. You look
Thank
nice.
you. So we've seen, aging population. We've seen, wellness and health issues that create problems in the community, that people need transportation to different services like dialysis clinics. And so as we've seen this growth, we need to be able to respond to it. So we're putting more resources in this year's budget to ensure that we can comply with the American Disabilities Act and provide those services to those passengers who are in need. And we also have travel training programs for seniors and those who are able to use our fixed route services, and those are the ones that you see on the street. Fixed route meaning those were bus stops. And so that they learn how to use transportation programs as they age and they're not able to drive their cars every day. This is a way for them to get around.
I noticed that you not only have like the buses that travel along the major type roads, but also they go inside the community.
Those are circulators.
Correct.
Yes.
That's very important. I see there's a much needed thing for that service. Why was that developed?
You look at the way that Charlotte is laid out, and there's a lot of thoroughfares, main thoroughfares, but there's a lot of subdivisions, cul-de-sacs, and areas that don't have access to these main thoroughfares, and people would have to basically walk a long ways to get to that transportation. So these circulator services go back into some of the neighborhoods. They're smaller vehicles that are able to get through those neighborhoods and provide access to those people who need transportation and access to, to basically come out, link with the major services and transfer.
Okay, I know we see the little advertisement that you have on your buses now. What was the thought process in that?
We proposed advertising as a way to augment our revenues. Sales taxes have basically, there's been a downturn in the economy, and so sales taxes, I would say, I don't want to use the word tanked, but the level the level of our expectation in terms of receipts changed. And so, to not be able to cut services and, to continue to provide the level of service and quality that we, had in the past, we proposed ways of leveraging our assets to provide more revenue sources. So advertising is one, and it's been pretty successful.